Hey, how's it going? My name is Jim Edgar, and I want to walk you through some basic setup and installation for OcenAudio. I'm going to demonstrate this because I've had a lot of students and clients who were interested in using it, but there aren't actually a lot of resources that have been posted for simply setting the program up and doing basic voiceover recording. You want to go to the OcenAudio site, and when you get there, you'll find all sorts of crazy graphics and the free download for the current version of OcenAudio. So if you go directly to the download screen, you'll have all sorts of different versions that you can use. Because I'm on a Mac system, mine automatically comes up for the current Mac version, which right now, as of this recording, is 3.1.10. But you'll see there's all sorts of versions, including Linux, if you don't have enough pain in your life. And for me, all I do is click on that. I watch the little commercial, and because I already do have it downloaded to my computer, I'm just going to cancel out of this step, but you should let that obviously finish out. The next thing that happens is after you've downloaded it and followed the basic instructions, it's going to end up somewhere in your applications folder. Again, I'm demonstrating on a Mac, so it's going to be a little bit specific to that, but you should be able to find it there. And as with any application, you can simply double click on it to open it up. Now, the other thing you could do on the Mac side is drag it to your dock. Since I already have it downloaded, I've already got it there, so I don't need two of those. So I'm just going to close this and go back to my dock, click one time on it, and that will open it up. And I've reset this so it basically is the way that it'll open for you the first time. It has the area where the files are, it has the waveform view section, which is more or less in the center of it, and there's a scale off to the right for plus and minus decibel level. Also the controls, some recent files. I'm going to just clear that for right now. The one thing missing from this is an actual useful meter. So if you go up under View and then come down to the level meter, you'll find that it's set at mini level meter, which only appears when we're recording. Since we want to set things maybe before we actually step into our booth, we want to activate the full-size level meter. Now this will appear on the right. When you click on the icon, all of a sudden when I'm talking, I can actually reach over and set some levels. That's too high. We're going to back that down a little bit. Oop, that's way too low. And when we come back and get it set right to the area what we like for voiceover input levels of -12 to -6, we're kind of happy because this will maybe be the performance level that I'm going to get. So we can turn that off again by clicking on it. And then before we actually record, because it would let you press the red button and start recording right now, I like to create a file first. So I'll go up to the New menu, create a new file, and it will come preset to all sorts of things that don't help us. We generally want to use 44,100 hertz, and we want to record voiceover in mono, unless our client has asked for something particularly different. We'll set those the same. They are tenacious, which means they will stay that way until you change them, and that creates this file over here. You'll notice it's untitled, and it also has no format. So before we record again, we want to fix that. So we go up here to the File menu, and we're going to do a quick Save As. Well, the save isn't even an option for us here. In this case, that'll bring up the window. I keep all my audio in an audio folder, and when I have it sorted alphabetically, I have auditions, booked work, courses, demos, editing work, stuff like that. So I like alphabetical stuff. In this case, we're going to treat this as an audition, so we'll hit that, and we'll just call it OcenAudio Demo. Now, if you look down at the bottom, you'll see that we have format choices. When you click on that, you see many more audio formats than you'll probably ever want to see in your life, but it's a useful tool for some very specific kind of applications. Now, we recognize MP3, but we want to record in either WAVE or we want to use AIFF up at the top. Those are two very common uncompressed audio formats, and they're kind of interchangeable these days. I generally like using AIFF, so we're going to choose that one for the purposes of this demo. Now that changes the file name. It actually gives us a name with the extension, and it tells us it's an AIFF. And right now we haven't recorded anything, so let's do that. We press on the red button. We had already set our levels, and we start talking. So now that we're talking, we get all kinds of little activity on the screen. We're actively seeing the waveform appear and go across the thing. We can look to the right and see where our level is. But in this case, you really shouldn't be looking at this. You should be paying attention to your script. You probably are in a separate booth while you're recording, so you won't actually see this. However, it really is happening. And at some point, I'll stop talking. Then I'll hit the red button, which stops it, and we have an audio file. Now, up here at the top, you'll see a segment of the audio file that corresponds to what you're seeing in the larger window below. And we can change how much we magnify that. I typically, I use a magic mouse, and so a little two-fingered swipe will make it wider so I can see the whole thing. If you're using a trackpad, it would be the same type of two-fingered swipe. But now we're looking at the entire audio file, and the first thing we want to do before we play with it is save it. And that locks this down. So if the computer suddenly turns itself off, our brilliant audio take is there and it's saved. You can also do all sorts of things like just highlight certain parts of it. Let me show you that again. I click and I drag to highlight it. I hit the delete key, it goes away. Click, drag, highlight, and delete on the back end. And we could also do detail editing by zooming in again with our two-fingered mouse. The one drawback of the program, if you have a small area selected and you press play, what happens is it only plays that particular part. You do have to zoom out to hear the entire audio file. I do see this as a drawback. Hopefully they're going to address this in a future version. But you see it plays across with the cursor and you see levels on the right. Obviously, if we were preparing an audition, we're going to be doing a little fine detail editing, but every time we do that, we're going to hit Command S or we're going to use save from the menu. It's got to be really a brainstem function because we don't want to lose anything at this point. If we want a little more real estate, we can get rid of that menu. It'll just drop it off the screen real quickly for us. So one thing to keep in mind is that any effects that we do, unless we've selected a section, it will apply it to the entire file. So for example, if we silenced it, that would actually be bad. So we can also undo that, Apple Z, or as we say these days, Command Z. But if we only select an area, that's actually the only part of the audio file that is going to be activated by the effect or whatever we happen to use. But that's really a little bit beyond what we're going to work on today. Let's pretend that we've got everything taken care of. We're ready to do a save as, and in this case, we go up to our save as menu. We find that MP3 and we save it as that. It'll come right up on our menu and we'll see a little progress bar right at the bottom of the screen once we hit save, and then we've actually saved our file. If we bring back the Open to Files menu, we see that the OcenAudio demo is now an MP3 version, and we're ready to send it to our agent. So that should cover it today, and thank you for watching.